Welcome back to the UFC Pros Pick Show. I am James Lynch. He is Nick Kalikas. And of course, we're joined by the man of the show, James Krause. The odds we're going to be using today are BetDSI. Make sure you sign up and use the promo code UFC. You get the signed James Krause photo and you get a match deposit bonus. Can't beat that deal, right? Let's be honest here. We were off last week, but we did have the UFC Columbus card the week before. Unfortunately, Krause's David Dvorak bet not coming through. I had a chalky play, though. Like, I can't even brag about this because it was so chalky. I took the Grasso, and I think it was Curtis Blades as my pick as well. But yeah, so that cash. But hey, we're moving on to this week. Tough card, guys. I was looking through this one. I mean, I know there's some big favorites and everything else, but we'll get into some other fights on the card too. But let's start with the main event. Alex Volkanovski, featherweight champion, taking on Korean Zombie. Alex Volkanovski right now in DSI is at minus 833. The comeback on Zombie plus 500. Nick, let's start with the line movement first. What do you see in here? It seems like it's been all Volkanovski early on.
It really has been. Not much respect coming in on the Korean Zombie side right now. It opened around minus 330 market wide. And now, like you just said, it's minus 800, minus 900s, minus 700s out there. So in Vegas, I see the lowest spots are around minus 660 or so, but everything else is sky high right now. So the action is coming in on Volkanovski early on, the straight bets and the parlays. But with the line climbing that high, I would expect to see a drop at some point because Jung is the type of caliber fighter that people are going to want to put their dog money on. Absolutely.
Krause, who are you picking in the main event?
I mean, you have to go with Volkanovski. I mean, I just don't honestly don't see where Zombie. I like Zombie. I think he's fun to watch. I'm a fan of his. I just don't see where he's better than Volkanovski. You know, I think he's got good power. But you're talking about Volkanovski and one of the most durable. And when I say durable, I don't just mean like one of the best chins. I mean, like, look at what he did with T City.
Yeah, Brian Ortega.
The chokes he got out of the cardio, the chin, the durability, the submission defense, the wrestling defense, to get back up. Like, he's extremely versatile in his ability to get out of things. And Zombie doesn't have like a crazy diverse attack game. He's power, he's power. And then I watched T City outstrike Zombie on, but that was on Fight Island. You guys know my thoughts on Fight Island. I don't put the same type of weight in those that I normally do. And then you see Volkanovski, what he did to Ortega standing. So it's really difficult for me to not place my pick on Volkanovski. Yeah.
Do you think he finishes this fight, or do you think it goes the distance?
I think there's some value on Volkanovski by decision. It's tough though, because I do think that Zombie, in order for Zombie to win, I think he's going to have to make it a dogfight. And I think as the fight goes on, they're gonna start hitting each other. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna get in the mix. And neither one of these guys are very play it safe. You know what I mean? And I could see a big punch landing over 25 minutes. I could see it happen.
The reason I asked that is because I'm also going Volkanovski, but I think he can finish this fight. I spoke to Volkanovski ahead of the matchup. You can find it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Lynch on Sports under the UFC 273 playlist. But he really wants to kind of remind people just how dominant he is. And I know he's, really talked about trying to go for the finish. I know fighters say that all the time, but I really feel like there's an opportunity for him to do it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know if Zombie's 100% healthy. Remember, he's been off for a bit with injuries and things of that nature. I know, his management and everything is like, yeah, he's good to go. But I mean, of course they're going to say that. I also think that, the Brian Ortega fight really gave us a glimpse, and I know they're different styles, but it gave us a glimpse as to where Zombie's at in terms of his skill level at this stage in his career. Ortega, Volkanovski won most of the rounds against Ortega, other than that one round where, he nearly got submitted. But you look at how dominant Ortega was against Korean Zombie. Like, I hate using MMA math, but I think it's a good glimpse as to where Zombie's level's at right now. And you look at his last win over Dan Ige, he's a guy that struggled recently too. So I just think that Volkanovski, I expect a dominant win. He's supposed to win this fight. He's a big favorite here, but I might even lay a little sprinkle, and this is not an official play, but I might lay a sprinkle on him inside the distance. I think if it could go later in the rounds, Volkanovski, I just think he has a point to prove. And I think that if we're being honest here, guys, I think he's one of the most disrespected champions in the organization right now, because of the fact a lot of people keep talking about the fact that Holloway, they felt beat him in that second fight. And I feel like they're not looking at just how brilliant he is.
It's because he's not sexy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything sexy. You know what I mean? Like, he's blue collar. He's fundamentally sound, and he's not flying knees. He's not like a crazy, submission guy. He's just nothing sexy. He beats people with good fundamentals and good durability. And what people don't talk about is his ability to cover distance. He covers distance better than anybody else in the UFC. It's remarkable. If you really watch how he covers distance safely and effectively, it's amazing. It's a thing of beauty. But it's because he's not sexy. That's why he's kind of disrespected.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. So, anyways,
good-looking guy. I'm talking about his
yeah, of course. Good for that. Co-main event, the highly anticipated grudge match is finally going to happen. Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling. Petr Yan, a big favorite here, -455. The comeback on Sterling, +400. Nick, I know people have been on Team Yan for a variety of reasons. When this line opened, but it seems like it's been climbing a lot. What are you seeing line movement wise?
Well, first, let me say this: I'm still bitter and sour about the last time they fought, because I got Yan, of course, around a pick 'em price, even money type of price. And now you got to lay around 350, 400, get out of here. So that's frustrating to say the least, but it did open around -350-ish market wide. Now, like you said, it's minus over 400, 500 out there. It's floating around. It's getting ridiculous. And it was pretty competitive early on last time. So I'm intrigued to see the adjustments that Sterling's going to make. And I'm hoping for a more competitive fight for sure as it goes. But right now it is the same situation as we got in the Volkanovski fight. A lot of people are backing Yan, straight bets and parlays at the sports books.
By the way, you can check out Nick's plays this week on UFC On the Line. He'll have those on there, and that's why we're talking about the line movement here today. Krause, again, the odds indicate one thing. Where are you going on this fight?
Yeah, I do feel like there's a little bit of disrespect on Sterling here as far as the line goes. This is one of those ones where if you wanted to play Yan, if you wanted to play Yan, you could play Sterling by submission. I don't think he wins a decision, even though it was close. Here's my train of thought on this, and Nick, you're 100% right. Those first two rounds were pretty close, and probably Sterling went Sterling's way. My problem is Yan is a notorious slow starter, and he gets information. I shouldn't say he's a slow starter because you have seen him start fast, but he likes to get information, right? He likes to get intel, and then he starts to attack off that information. My train of thought is like, where is he at with the first 25 minutes? If he got all the information he needs, I'm worried that he may start a little faster than normal. And if he starts fast, it could be tough. Now, Aljamain has the equivalent of a knockout punch on the ground. He's really good. His jiu-jitsu and wrestling is amazing. Like, don't think for 1 second that if this fight hits the ground that Sterling can't finish this fight. He's extremely good. Is it likely? Probably not, because I think Jan's so, athletic, incredible, hard to take down. First of all, he's extremely difficult to take down. When you get him down, Aljamain did get him down. If you remember, I rewatched the fight the other day, and it was a little closer than I initially remember watching. So obviously, I'm going to lean towards Yan. My train of thought is he's going to have the timing. He's going to start a little faster. This and the emotion too. You know what I mean? The trash talk back and forth. I think he's going to start a little bit more aggressive than he normally does. I think that's going to be a good thing for Yan, not a bad thing. And I think if I'm in Jan's team, the first thing I'm saying is like, hey man, you can't let him get away with 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let him run away with those rounds like you did last time. Like, you got to get after this kid early. And I'm going Yan, but I would not be surprised in one bit if Aljamain pulled out an upset here.
I'm glad to hear that, guys, honestly, because, and Nick brought it off right off the onset, that the first fight in those early rounds was competitive. It's like people didn't either watch the fight or they're so blinded by how much they don't like Aljamain Sterling. And look, I get people not liking him, absolutely, with the way things were handled after the fight and all that, but people that I see online act like Yan won every round like a 10-8. That's literally the narrative going into this, and I think that's also leading to the line being too high. I think the line is pretty high. I'm not oblivious to the fact that Yan was on his way to winning that fight. I'm not dumb in that sense, but it was very competitive early on. And the other thing I wonder is, this neck injury, is it going to hinder or help Sterling? Is it something that, will make him better?
Not going to help him.
Yeah. Well, no. But I'm just saying, like, maybe this was something that he'd been dealing with going into the first fight, and maybe it's corrected something. I don't know. We've seen fighters come back from injury and look better. So that's something to consider. The other thing we haven't talked about is that he did his whole camp, by the looks of it, I didn't have a chance to speak to him. His whole camp was back at Longo Serra, his original gym, right? The last fight, I believe, was at Extreme Couture. So he's back with his home guys. I know Adrian Yanez, I believe, was brought in to help him as well for this fight too. So I don't know. I like the fact that he's back at the old gym. And you mentioned the slow start for Yan. Again, we'll see if that lives true in this fight. Saying all that, though, I still think Jan wins. I think we've seen him time and time again. Just, that last fight against Sandhagen, we've seen the win over Aldo, finishing Aldo. Like, these are really good, impressive wins over top caliber opponents here. And I just think that Jan has an answer for Sterling. Add in the fact that, everyone's on Jan's side here. I'm sure there's a bit of pressure for Sterling, because if he loses this, no one's going to let him live this down as well, in terms of the pressure standpoint and all that. So yeah, I'm going to go Jan, but I think Jan wins the decision. I don't think he finishes Sterling. I may even look at the Jan by decision prop. I know it's 5 rounds. I know Sterling has been finished before, like we saw against Marlon Moraes, but I lean more towards the decision here, because I think my prediction is I think Jan wins, but I think Sterling will look a lot better than people are giving credit for, especially on the betting line right now. So
I think the problem is like people are overshadowing the first 2 rounds that were close by the last 2 rounds that were blowouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he did blow him out. You know what I mean? The last 2 rounds weren't even close, and I think that's why the disrespect is happening. But I do think the line's off. I do think it's off a little bit.
Recency bias on a smaller scale, right? Like that's what we say, recency bias quite often, right? And during that fight, you've seen recency bias, the latter part of the rounds, like you said. I agree, Krause.
Where would you put it at, bro?
What, this line right here? It should probably be closer to minus 300 at this point, not
that's
400.
Exactly where
that's what I had it too.
That's
where I had it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
so that means what? Is there value on the dog? Like we said, it's hard to argue that there's not, right? Despite everybody thinking Jan's
there's win, for sure value on Sterling. Like I don't think he's. I think he's gonna have a hard time winning this fight, but there's for sure value there, 100%.
And I think the line's going to continue to climb. I think you're going to see more people betting Jan closer to fight time, again, because of this fact that people don't like Sterling. And you see it time and time again when the more popular
That's new to me. What is that? Why people don't like him? Why don't they like him?
You should see the comments. Anything Sterling wise, he's not like, people are like, this is like the new Mackenzie Dern accent thing that I've seen online in terms of people like fixating on something and like commenting. Like, he's very much hated. Like, he's probably hated as much as Covington, honestly, like from some of the comments I've seen.
No,
I swear. Listen, I'm a content guy. Really? I see the comments. People do not like Sterling at all because of this whole, I don't know. So anyways, that's from what I've seen.
Because of the knee, he didn't continue.
It's because of the fact that he held up the belt, he took photos with it. People are like, fake champ, all that stuff. People like that. That's like next to missing weight. That's like one of the worst things you can do.
And let's not forget, he felt like remorse inside the cage, but then he went in the back, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, like Lynch just said, the media part of things, like he went in the back, then he started celebrating with his team. So it just wasn't a good look, I think, to the public after that. So you're saying one thing, in front of the cameras, and then behind the scenes, you're partying and celebrating the title like you know what I mean? Yeah, right. I think so. That's what kind of burned people more so than anything else, I think, personally.
Now, we couldn't talk about UFC 273 without talking about Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns. So a little bonus content for you guys here today. Chimaev minus 625, the comeback on Gilbert Burns plus 400. Nick, again, Chimaev it seemed like from the beginning has been a pretty big favorite. It only seems like I've seen books even higher than this. I've seen it almost close to 8 to whatever in terms of the lines. What have you been seeing?
This fight opened a pick market wide, minus 110. Wow. That is insane. I know that. But you know what? In all honesty, how hard is it to line this fight, to come out with an original opening number? Because of, like we said, all the hype. I mean, Burns, we know he's an established veteran. We know what you got in him. He's a title contender. He's gotten better. I mean, he was so close to getting what he wanted, his ultimate goal of strapping that belt around his waist, right? So we know that he belongs. Chimaev looks the part. I mean, everything that he's doing seems like it's accurate, like meaning that he's going to live up to all the hype, but we're just not sure. So even though that line opens pretty bad at minus 110, I still give them a pass because it's not easy to line a Chimaev fight at this point. Just imagine if he comes out here and beats Burns. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of this a little bit, but I mean, if he does match up with Usman, that line's going to be competitive, man. It's going to be really close. So that's the kind of hype and recognition he gets. Not easy to line Chimaev fights, but right now, like you said, it's floated up. Everybody's taking him straight. Everybody's putting him in parlays, but make no mistake, we are going to see Burns money come in and the line's going to drop on fight day because people are going to take a stab at the dog, especially stylistically how these guys match up. If there's a kryptonite to somebody like Chimaev, it's all the intangibles I think that Burns has. So that dog money will eventually come.
Krause, who are you going with?
This is crazy to me. This is so crazy to me. Okay, so closing line on Burns, Usman, I saw somewhere around 200, minus 200 Usman. You're seeing minus 600 Chimaev. You mean to tell me a guy that has not been hit in the UFC is 3 times more likely to beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, undefeated in the UFC, Kamaru Usman? You think he is 3 times better of a chance at beating Gilbert Burns than the #1 pound-for-pound fighter It is insane to me. This guy hasn't been hit yet. I know. Listen, I'm in the know. Like, I'm in the industry. Everybody says this guy is a mauler. Everybody says he's a killer. I'm with that. I'm not saying he's going to lose. But I'm saying if I can get the guy that has came the closest to finishing the number one pound-for-pound fighter on the planet at plus 400, you have to. You have to play it. And I'm not even like, this is like, to me, this is so baffling. Like the sharps and all, you guys know I make fun of these guys all the time. These dorks, half these dorks don't even know what they're talking about. Like, oh, the sharp, where the value is. I don't give a shit where the value is if I know who's going to win the fight. Okay? Yeah. This is insane to me. This is insane to me that the guy that's came closest to finishing number one pound-for-pound fighter on the planet Earth right now, you can get him at plus 400. That's crazy to me. You have to play it, in my opinion. You have to play it. I don't care what you think on who's going to win. I think we have not seen Chimaev hit, and he's a wrestler. He is going against probably the best grappler in MMA right now. Like, what are we talking about here? This is not even a bad stylistic matchup for Burns. You're asking me how I'm going? Gilbert Burns. That's where I'm going. Let's go.
Wow. Oh, so you're picking him. Interesting.
I'm picking Gilbert Burns to win.
Straight out.
Okay, yeah. Mystic Krause here with the pick. Okay, so one thing we didn't talk about, and this is why I'm going the other way. I think the size and strength will play a role in this fight. You know, Chimaev has fought at 85. Gilbert Burns used to fight at 155. I know Burns really is a 7-year in terms of, you know, how much weight he has to cut. I remember interviewing him, by the way, before he fought Dan Hooker. He looked like a ghost. Like, he had weight. He was gone. He had, you know, he was really, really tough cut for him. And Chimaev's just, you know, we're hearing stories about, you know, training partners and everyone saying that this guy's holding his own with the bigger guys. I think the style as well sort of favors him in terms of him getting him to the ground. Now, listen, I see people saying Chimaev's going to submit Gilbert Burns. That's not happening. If it does, I'd be shocked, but that's not happening. We're talking about a guy who started in BJJ and developed his stand-up and has been one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC, in Gilbert Burns. I think Chimaev might TKO him. I think that might happen in the second round. I think Chimaev's going to go out there, just keep taking this guy down, tire him out. I know Burns is at a great camp at Sanford. He's been working with everyone, putting everything together. And I may be wrong here. And Krause, you can absolutely make fun of me. But you know what? There's going to be a ton of people. There's going to be a ton of people who will feel the same way, because there's people who don't even think it's going to get out of the first. I'm giving Gilbert Burns the first. I think he gets out of the first. I think, though, Chimaev will just continue to take him down, wear him out, land elbows, land shots or whatever, and he's going to get like a TKO finish in the second round. I think there is some value on Chimaev by knockout potentially in this fight, especially with what's at stake.
This is my problem.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Everything you're saying is 100% correct. The problem is like, what happens when he doesn't take him down? Or what happens
or gets hit? You're right.
When he gets back up, or what happens when he gets rocked? We saw this a couple weeks ago, and I brought this up on the show before already. I hate to bring it up again. I'm going to, though. I love the kid a ton. I think he's remarkable. I think he's a future star. Terrence McKinney. What happens when those guys don't go away?
Yeah.
Like, what happens when Drew Dober doesn't go away? That shot doesn't knock him out. That's what I'm saying with Chimaev. Like, and dude, I know you guys are gonna call me crazy. I
get it. I do get it, honestly. Like, I think this line is a little crazy when you look at what Burns has accomplished in his career. You know, people are like, oh, we lost to Dan Hooker. He lost because he had a bad weight cut. Like, he was completely drained and Hooker caught him, and it happens when you cut a lot of weight. Like, that's what people don't look at. They're just like, oh, he lost to Dan Hooker. Just because you can make a weight doesn't mean that's your weight class. Exactly.
And here, this is the crazy part. This is where I said you guys are gonna call me batshit crazy. I went back and I watched the Chimaev Li Jingliang fight. I'm telling you guys right now, if he tries to do that to Gilbert Burns, I could see a scenario. This is what's playing in my head, and this is why I'm going Burns. I could see a scenario where he tries to clown Burns like he clowned Lee, and he doesn't get him out of there.
Okay.
And the second round comes, and Burns is still like, I'm here, bro. I'm not going anywhere. I've been here. And the takedowns stop coming. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I could see that. I see it all the time where this, like, the hype train is, oh, this guy's going to kill you, future. And then the shot that normally puts people down doesn't. The takedown that normally hits doesn't. They don't go away in the first round. There's not enough information for me to play on Chimaev. I think he's a fucking monster. But I've never seen the dude get hit. I'm not saying he's going to lose. I'm saying if I can get if I can get the guy that's came the closest to beating the number one pound-for-pound champion in the UFC, the best fighter on the planet Earth today, if I could get that guy at plus 400, I have to take it.
Okay, I like it. Let's get next week's show is going to be real interesting. I can't wait for that. Prop bet of the week. Let's move on to that. What are you liking here this week, Krause?
Let's run it on this fight. Burns, Chimaev over 1.5 round. I think it's a lock. There's nothing about this. There's nothing about this play that scares me at all. I think it's an absolute lock. Burns is durable. These guys are gonna grapple. I think Chimaev's gonna shoot on him early just to prove a point. And I'm telling y'all right now, Chimaev's not gonna submit that dude unless he hurts him first. He's not. If he subs Gilbert Burns without hurting him first, I'll get on this show. I'll apologize to the fans. I'm telling you guys right now, though, Gilbert Burns is one of the best grapplers in MMA. I don't see this fight. I could see a decision. I could see, I could see a bunch of the. And I will say this: if it does hit under 1.5 rounds, I think it's more on the Burns side.
Okay, I like it.
Crazy.
No, I like it. I'm actually going to take a look at that too, because like I said, second round finish for me. My prop bet of the week, keeping it simple here. Aspen Ladd, Raquel Pennington. I don't see a finish in that fight at all. I know that's bit me a couple weeks ago. It actually bit me on the Grasso fight against Joanne Wood, but whatever. But yeah, this time I don't think it happens. It's minus 285. We're not going to just play that. That's too much chalk. I'm going to parlay it with Ian Gary. Ian Gary is one of these guys like Paddy Pimblett, where the UFC is carefully matching him up so they can build this guy up. I like Darian Weeks. I think he's, a tough guy. I thought he had a good debut against Brian Barberena, and we saw Barberena did a few weeks ago. I still think Ian Gary wins. You parlay those two together, you're getting closer to plus money. I think that hits for a prop bet. What do you think of that, Krause?
I actually love that, and we're gonna talk about that here in a minute. I will say this: I do think Darian's being disrespected a little bit. He's from Kansas City. He's from Sedalia, an hour from me. I've trained with him a ton. The kid is game. He's game. He's not like he is not. I don't want to say he's not skilled, because he is. As far as technique wise, Gary for sure has the advantage there. But Weeks is game. He's tough to get out of there. He's very durable. He always comes in shape, and he hits hard, man. And Gary has been cracked in the past. If you watch his fight with Jordan, is it Williams? Jordan Williams?
Yeah.
Dude, Williams was touching him up before he got clipped.
I know.
Williams was touching him up. This is not some mythical creature that is, can't be touched. Like, this kid's been hit. He's been hit, and I'm just saying, like, I like the Gary play too. I'm with it, but don't disrespect Weeks, because he's game, man. Technique to technique, it's not there, but the kid can hang around and he can make things difficult.
And let me just say this: if you guys paid attention and tuned into UFC on the Line, you would have got Ian Gary at minus 215, baby. We got him at minus 215. Steam the line, UFC on the Line. That's why it's worth tuning in. And I will have my prop bets on UFC on the Line as well. So make sure you tune in. So again, it's just this little quick shameless plug for On the Line.
What's your bet of the week, Krause?
Dude, I'm actually gonna. We talked about this off air, and I feel like a goofball. I wish I'd have known. Maybe I'll give you guys another play. But my bet of the week is gonna be Pennington Ladd to go the distance, parlay with Ian Gary. That's exactly what I was gonna play. I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good play. There's a lot of fights on here that I just don't want to touch. Like Bandera Olenek. Like how the hell do you pick that? Frim Hernandez. You know what I mean? Like, and even the ones that are like locks. Like, okay, you're telling me let's go like Malat Mickey Gall. Like Mickey Gall,
another iffy one. Mike Malat used to fight at featherweight. You know that he fought Hakeem Dawadu in World Series of Fighting. It's crazy. Now he's a welterweight.
And Mickey shows up sometimes.
I know. And Mickey's at Sanford now. Did you guys? I don't know if you know that. Mickey's training at Sanford now, which is great.
Tibura Rosenstrike. I don't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know. And even the ones like Ian Gary Weeks, like, dude, I could see a scenario where Weeks knocks him out and clips him. I could see a scenario where Aljamain Sterling subs Peter Yan. I'm just saying, are they going to happen? Probably not, but it would not be the end of the world if those things happen to me. Dude, you're right. Aspen Ladd, Raquel Pennington, it goes the distance. I think I played it straight up at minus 275. I feel that good about it. I mean,
we got a lot of back and forth, by the way, not to cut you off. Sorry, Krause.
No, you're good.
When you touched on the Pennington fight, I mean, it's important. I think people know we had early action, sharp action coming on Pennington. So the line kind of climbed that way. And then we got resistance. We got buyback on the Ladd side from other sharp group coming in and betting the dog too. So there's two-way sharp action on Pennington Ladd. And that's the case for a couple of these fights as well. So you're right. It's going to be a very interesting card.
Patel Madsen. What do I do with that? Hanson Rodriguez. What do I do with that? You know what I mean? Like, what? these like there's full of a bunch of inconsistency and X factors. Like we talk about this all the time. With me, the X factors, like when there's a ton of those, I have no idea. We're talking about inconsistencies. Madsen, I would play Madsen until I saw the Guida fight. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do with this fight. You know what I mean? I have no idea what to do with this fight. Olenek, Vandera, I would play Olenek, but he's looked terrible in the last few fights. You know, I don't know what to do with these fights, man. Like Dern Torres. If Dern gets her down, for sure, she can sub her. But Torres is tough to take down. Great footwork. Like these are like
never been submitted either, right?
Yes, they're completely conflicting matchups, and it's really difficult to get a hit on this one. Next week, I got some heat for you guys. Let's go next week.
There we go. Okay, quickly, my bet of the week. I'm going to keep this simple. Julio Arce minus 190. Like Krause said, it's a tough card to bet on. The only reason I like Arce here is because I feel like the guys he's losing to are very good. Song Yadong, we just saw what he did to Marlon Moraes. I think Arce, the bantamweight is the better weight class for him. He's got a couple good wins at featherweight too. The thing for me is Santos is a newbie. He hasn't fought since I think 2019, so there's a bit of a layoff coming in as well. I think if Arce keeps it standing, that veteran experience, he was a Tiger Schulman's guy. Those guys always show up when it comes to fights. I think Arce goes out there and likely wins a decision. You get him at minus 190, a little chalky. I wouldn't say chalky, but it's a little high, but for my liking, but I think that's, decent. Another name I did look at was Anthony Hernandez, but I don't know. Like, it just depends. Hernandez has had 3 opponent switch ups. So I don't know if, how he's going to look against Fremd, who's, kind of taking this on short notice. Yeah, exactly.
Power, man. It's tough.
Exactly.
That one ain't going the distance. That one's not going the distance.
For sure. But anyways, the pick's going to be Arce. Okay. Good time to wrap up the show. Krause, you have a Discord chat you wanted to plug before you get out of here. Why don't you mention that?
Just opened the Discord, 2 weeks open, and we're like 650 members in already.
Wow.
Last week we absolutely crushed it. We have a free version and we have a paid version. It's fun, man. The community in there already, it's been killing it. I've really enjoyed doing it. I communicate and I interact with everybody in there on both sides of it. So it's been really cool. It's been a fun little new project for me. So you guys can message me or whatever for the link, and I'll send it to you in my DM on Instagram.
There you go. He'll slide in your DMs. Check out Nick on UFC on the Line, like we mentioned as well. We'll be back next week. We got consecutive UFC cards coming up here, so we're looking forward to it. Again, check out BetDSI. Sign up, use the promo code UFC. You get the signed James Krause photo, and you get the match deposit bonus. For myself, for Nick Kalikas, for James Krause, thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the card on Saturday. We'll see you next week.